The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our free webinar today on ATLAS.ti Cloud. So this is a brand new version of ATLAS.ti that we've recently launched, and we're very excited to share it with all of you. And this is our first version of the software that's completely based online. And so although the ATLAS.ti software has been around for, well, nearly 30 years now, we've now launched this online version. And so, in fact, you don't even need to download and install a software to use it on your computer, but you just need a computer with an internet connection, and then you can log into your account online and continue working on your project. So at the moment, ATLAS.ti Cloud is in its beta version. And while we're in the beta version, you can all use it for free. So if you go to our website, ATLAS.ti.com, right here, you can already see to access directly to ATLAS.ti Cloud. And okay, so in this case, I'm already logged in, but when you go for the first time, you'll have a registration page, so you can enter your name and email and create your account for free. And so when you enter ATLAS.ti Cloud, you're first at this projects overview page. And so you can see all of the projects that you may have created here. So you can use ATLAS.ti Cloud to analyze your qualitative data. And typically, you'll create a project for each study that you do, and then you can put all of your data, your documents, or articles for your literature review in that same project. And so when we open up the project, we can see all of the documents that are here. So a document in ATLAS.ti simply refers to any source of information that you're going to be analyzing. So you can also think of your documents as your data. Now, of course, ATLAS.ti is great for doing a literature review, because that is essentially a type of qualitative analysis, reading all that text and making sense of it. So I certainly recommend to count on ATLAS.ti for your literature reviews as well. So if you have your, let's say you have transcriptions from your interviews or focus group discussions or articles for your literature review, any type of textual data that you might want to analyze, you can add it by clicking here. So you can upload Word documents or PDF documents, and you can also create documents directly inside ATLAS.ti. So you can even type your contents right here. And so then you can write out the name, and then just start writing here. As well, it might be, if you prefer, for whatever reason, you could also copy paste contents into a document. Maybe you found a web page somewhere with some information that you also want to analyze, and so then we could even just also take advantage in that sense and just copy paste it in. And so always all of the textual documents in ATLAS.ti are editable. And so this is really helpful because even though we've already imported it, even though you may have already started analyzing and working on the document, you can always still edit the structure and format. You can create lists or underline. So basically, whenever you click or highlight anything in the body of text, then this will appear here, so you can format it in any way you prefer. So in order to be able to edit any document, you just have to make sure that edit mode is enabled. Basically, that the little padlock up here is unlocked. If we lock it, then we won't be able to edit. It'll just focus on analysis. So then how might we carry out this analysis here? Well, I'm going to go ahead and go back to the documents, and let's take a look at maybe a document with a bit more content here. And so as you go through reading your data, anytime you come across anything that captures your attention, something that can help you answer your research question, well, all you need to do is highlight that segment of the data. So just click and highlight, and you can select as much or as little as you want. Always with ATLAS.ti, the full power of the analysis is in our hands, so we decide which segments of data are relevant here. And so I'm just going to go ahead and, there we go. So we highlight the segment, and then on the right-hand side, we have this box appear where we can add codes or comments. So the highlighted segment, what we chose here, is a quotation. We're going to be saving a quotation of our data, a segment here. Now we can add codes to our quotations. So what is a code then? Well, a code can be just a word or a short phrase that's describing something you're seeing in the data. You can also think of codes as tags that you're going to go attaching to all your different segments of data to start organizing all of this information and making sense of everything here. So you can type in any code name you want, and you can, of course, attach as many codes as you want to any quotation. So I can see that here, this is talking about closeness to data. So I type the code name, and then we just click here, and that code is associated. As well as, emergent features. So we can just continue like that to add all the codes that we would like. Now, if you'd also like to write any notes to yourself or about your analysis or any kinds of, comments on this particular quotation here, we can, of course, write comments on any of our individual quotations. In fact, every single individual object in ATLAS.ti has its own comment space. That means every document, every code, and of course, every quotation. And this space serves, for us to provide any additional information that we may like to about that object in particular. And so it's like a sticky note that's always going to be attached to it. So maybe, I could say here, this is really interesting, worth looking into, or maybe this reminds me of something another participant said, or this reminds me about what that one author said in regard to this theory. We could kind of jot down our notes there if we would like to, or even the page number, or where, if I want to later quote this. And so then we see our codes are attached to the quotation here. And by clicking, as you can see, you can easily edit it and continue working on it. And so that's really, the gist of how you go through analyzing the data. You select the interesting segments of information and then attach your codes. So we've just created these two new codes here. And as you can see, we have quite a few codes created in this project. And then as you're coding, you'll also see all of them appear. So you can also easily reuse any already existing codes or just type to search for any codes that match that text you're writing here. So you can also easily reuse any of the already existing codes in your project. So this is pretty much, how we can carry out this manual analysis where we go through and, analyze the data and think about it and, get all of our ideas down here in our codes. But, as we are also working with a computer program here, well, let's say I wanted to search throughout this document here. I want to search for a particular word. We can click on the magnifying glass up here and then type in any kind of word you'd like to search for in this text. Or maybe not, so how about research? So anytime the word research is mentioned. When you click enter, ATLAS.ti highlights every time this word appears. And so we can see we have 6 results here. And so the great thing about this feature here is that ATLAS.ti Cloud can also automatically code all of these findings for us. And it doesn't just have to code the word research. We can tell it to code the full sentence where the word appears, or the full paragraph. And then it'll expand the quotation to get the full sentence there. So this is really helpful for kickstarting the analysis. Just with one click, we can identify where these relevant segments of data are coming up, where our keyword of interest is being mentioned. And we don't have to stop there. If you click on this drop-down arrow, you can also add further synonyms to expand your search. And then these will also be included here. And so you have this automatic it's a synonym dictionary or library here, so it'll suggest common words. And so then that's great because we can, look at other words that might have a similar meaning, maybe just someone said it in a different way. So we can capture all of that. And then when we want to save it, we just click on the red button here to create the quotation. And we tell ATLAS.ti what code do we want to attach. One of your already existing codes or create a new one. Maybe I'll write here, these are my results of auto coding, so I keep track that these are the quotations generated by ATLAS.ti. And there we have it. So auto coding is certainly a helpful tool, especially if you have large amounts of data. It's great for going through all that data and finding where you have your keywords of interest coming up. Now, another great thing about ATLAS.ti Cloud is that it makes working in teams truly easier than ever. And so if you are collaborating with others on a project, now that we have ATLAS.ti online, well, we can very easily just invite someone else to the project, just click up here to invite a team member, and then enter their email, their name, and you can also give a personalized message if you'd like. Whether or not that person has an ATLAS.ti Cloud account, they'll receive this email. If they don't have their own account yet, then they'll have a link there where they can create their account for free, of course. And then that person will also be able to open the project and the document and work in here. And everything will be automatically saved and updated. In fact, you might notice throughout ATLAS.ti Cloud, there is no save button. And that's because it's already saving everything for you. So you really can just sit back and relax and carry out the analysis here, and then you'll be able to see as well your team member's photo here, and you can also see the name of the person who created this. So you can also easily keep track of who did what. And so if we go back to the projects page, you'll see here that you also have a section for projects that are shared with you, projects where you have more than one person. So that's where it'll appear if you're going to be doing teamwork together. So that's pretty much the basics of the analysis in ATLAS.ti. And so let's take a look at the other functions that we have here. So from the documents page, when you click here, or if you use this keyboard shortcut, just GD, it'll open up your documents page where you can see all of your documents, and you can view more details. So remember we said that every individual object had its own comment space. And so when it comes to writing comments on your documents, you might want to describe, what this data is. If it's an interview, where was it carried out? Or who carried out this interview? Kind of any relevant information that will be important for your study, you can jot it down here. And if you're working with secondary sources, then I absolutely recommend to write out the full reference here in the comment space. So you'll always know exactly where that source came from. And then, of course, you'll write that reference out in whatever referencing style you use in your discipline. We can also create groups. So we can organize our documents and our codes by grouping them. So here, for example, we created a group for gender. So we can see our male and female participants and what role they have. So to create a group, just click here on Add to Group, and you can either add it to an already existing group, or of course we can create a brand new group here. Maybe we have primary data, while this one here is secondary data. So any single document can belong to more than one group, so you can create as many groups as you want, so you can definitely take advantage of the groups to organize your data. And then these groups can be helpful for querying the data. So let's say when you have a lot of documents up here and you just want to see, I just want to see my male participants. And so then we could, of course, just sort here. And, we could say which kind of let's take a look here. My apologies. We can click on the filter button here. And then we could say, okay, I want to see the documents that are part of my group male participants. So we can set these filter rules in any of these overview pages so that we can easily find whatever part of our project we're interested in here. And as you can see, you can add multiple rules, so you can create combinations. Maybe I want to see males and those that are directors, so you can continue to add more filter rules here. And then, of course, ATLAS.ti will only show documents that fit that filter. Now, here, on the other hand, you can order them in different ways, according to whatever parameters you might be interested in. So let's take a look. Here we have the codes page. And you can also access it by pressing GC on your keyboard. And it's similar to the documents page, but of course here we're looking at all of our codes. And again, if you click on Show All Details, you can see the comment of each code, and you can also see its groups. So when it comes to writing comments on your codes, what we always like to recommend is to use this space to write the operational definition of each of your codes, to explain what exactly is this code referring to, or how is this concept understood in this analysis. So the comment space is the perfect area to write down that information, so you can always see exactly what you mean with this code, and so it's consistently used, especially if you're working in teams. And I think this is even more important, so that it's crystal clear how the code should be used. And then again, we can group them to organize them. If you want to group them together, codes that are similar or maybe that are about the same kind of category or concept. We can also see the groundedness of each code. That's how many quotations are associated to this code. And so, let's say we've gone through and written all of our definitions here in the comment space. And then, a great advantage here is that now we could even download our code book with just a click of the mouse. So we can choose if we want it in QDC format or Excel format, and then ATLAS.ti will download it for us. And just like that, you have your full list of codes and all of their definitions. And so then you have all this information already put together, and so that's great, if you want to include it as an appendix to your report, or if you want to share it with others. And so you can now see your codes, their definitions, and also what groups they belong to. And again here, if you want to search for particular codes, take advantage of these filter rules. If you want to see codes from a certain group or that have certain texts, so there's a lot of flexibility there. And if you click on any code, then ATLAS.ti will take you to the Quotation Explorer. And now we can see all of the quotations that are associated to this code here. So if we just click on the Quotation Explorer, then we can see, we'll click here to see all of the quotations. I'm not able to refresh this, right? There we go, all of our quotations. And so you can see all of those different segments of data that you've selected throughout your project. And you can see which document each quotation comes from, any codes that are associated, any comments that you might have written on them. And then here on the left-hand side, we have these different filter views. So you already get this kind of a visualization so you can see the groundedness of your different codes, how many quotations are associated to them here. And again, we can use filters to query the data here. To say, I want to see data that talks about benefits for new users, as well as data that comes from, or not even code, but maybe data that comes from my female participants. So you can add all these different kinds of filter rules, and we're querying the data here. In a sense, you can even ask your research question. What do female participants say about the benefits of using technology here? And then we have our results right here. And then, of course, you can download this report by clicking here. And then ATLAS.ti will also download that for you in an Excel spreadsheet. There we have the code, and the Bureau Commons will see that there as well. So this is also a really helpful tool here. Different ways to query it and just to save these results. If you want to download your quotation and explore them in different ways, it's very easy to do so. Now we also have our memos. Now a memo is simply a blank space. You can think of it as a notebook here, and you can create as many memos as you want. And so you can use your memos to write down your thoughts, your analyses, and ideas. You can even start elaborating the rough drafts of your final paper right here. So we can create new memos, and of course we can also write comments on them and group them together. And so I definitely recommend writing in your memos because, when you force yourself to put your thoughts into words, it really helps to crystallize your understanding of what's going on in all of this rich qualitative data here. If you're working in a team, even more important, so you can use this as a sort of bulletin board to exchange ideas or to clarify the different roles of each team member or kind of your schedule. So you can use memos as much for actually analyzing the data as well as just for kind of the logistics and just keeping track of your projects, just like keeping a research diary or a list of the tasks that you have to do every time. Of course, you can create as many memos as you want, so definitely I encourage you to take advantage and be creative with how you can use the memos to help with your analysis here. Now finally, if you ever do have any questions or doubts about how to do something in ATLAS.ti Cloud, just click down here on this chat bubble and you can get in direct contact with our team. Just start typing here and then a member of our team will get in touch with you, and so we're happy to answer questions. Or if you have any feedback or suggestions, anything that you'd like to be able to do here, please share with us because we're constantly working on this and adding new features and improvements, so we'd definitely love to hear from you guys and about how ATLAS.ti can meet all your qualitative data analysis needs. Now finally, I'd just like to point out here, if you do want to find more information, you can visit our Help Center, and we have a lot of different articles about using ATLAS.ti Cloud. We also have video tutorials in here. So this is also great if you want to explore and see how you can use the software. And you can send feedback here as well if you like. And you can also see our feature roadmap. So here you can see the features that we're currently working on that are going to be implemented in the future. And the great thing here is that you can also comment and vote on them. Let us know how important is this for you. And then our technicians will take this into account, so this is how they'll figure out what to work on next. And if you have any ideas of your own, please share it with us. Submit a new idea here. And then, like I said, we're always happy to hear from you and see how we can make ATLAS.ti an even more helpful tool for you in your qualitative research. So I'm going to take a look if we have any questions here. I'm happy to answer if anyone has any questions about ATLAS.ti Cloud. Just write in the chat box that we have on the GoToWebinar panel. Since we are nearing the end of the webinar presentation, but I will also, here we are, I've already got it, my contact information I'll put up here. My name is Ivana, and I'm happy to be with you all here today. And this is also my email address. If you ever have any questions or you want to follow up on anything after the webinar, please feel free to contact me. I'd be more than happy to help. So I can see Vincent says, hi, I was wondering how ATLAS.ti Cloud works with the on-prem version. Can I share a project from on-prem to the cloud version to collaborate with others? By on-prem, I suppose you mean the desktop versions. So we have, ATLAS.ti for cloud, but we also have ATLAS.ti for Mac computers, Windows computers, and so we call those the desktop versions. Those are the ones that have been around for nearly 30 years now. So you can download your ATLAS.ti Cloud project. If you go to the settings page, any ATLAS.ti Cloud project can be exported and then opened in ATLAS.ti Desktop, be it Windows or Mac. So you can move from cloud to the desktop version, but at the moment you cannot go in the other direction. So you can't open your desktop projects in cloud. And that's just because ATLAS.ti Cloud is still, in the beta version, and it doesn't have all of the tools and functionalities that the desktop versions have. And so that's why the project can't be back translated. So given that, if you are working in a team, uh, the, the working protocol is a little bit different with the desktop version, since you do need to manually merge your projects together and send them to all the team members. It doesn't automatically save and update. And so there's no way that if you're already working in desktop, then you can't move your project to cloud. What I would recommend for teamwork is to start in ATLAS.ti Cloud, because it's so much easier to use. All you have to do is enter online and continue working, and everyone's work is updated right there. And then later, if you do want to use the other tools that are available in ATLAS.ti Desktop, you can always just export the project and then work on it from there. So for the moment, that would be my recommendation, to start in cloud and then later move to desktop when you want to use the features that you have there. As you also ask, further to my last question, can this work in conjunction to the mobile app? Yes, and so we also have ATLAS.ti for mobiles, like Android tablets or iPads, and it's actually the same with the mobile app. So if you work with an ATLAS.ti project on your tablet, you can open it in ATLAS.ti Desktop, but you can't open a desktop project in the iPad or the Android tablet. So again, if you want to, I recommend that you start on the tablet and then move to the desktop, but I'm afraid that at the moment we can't go back and forth between all the versions. It's something that is coming in the future, but for the moment, it would just be in that direction. So then I would recommend that you decide which one you want to start with. For teamwork, I would certainly recommend ATLAS.ti Cloud over the mobile apps, just because you have it already online, so everything updates automatically. But yeah, I suppose it would also depend on what your needs are for your analysis. So if you're just going to be working with textual data, then definitely just count on ATLAS.ti Cloud. And so I'll put up once more our contact information here. And so, well, with that, we can go ahead and start closing the webinar for today. And so definitely, guys, remember, if you have any other questions that come up, feel free to send me an email, or as well, actually, you can just get in touch with us by using the chat right here. This is also a really handy feature with Cloud that we don't have in any of the other versions of ATLAS.ti. But it's a great, this chat feature, just to stay in touch, and then, of course, to help you as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And so I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and now you're ready to create your own ATLAS.ti Cloud account and add your data there and start analyzing, whether you're working alone or in a team. And then remember, if you ever want to continue elaborating more with your project, or if you want to analyze other types of data as well and so on, then of course you can count on the desktop versions of ATLAS.ti. So thank you, everyone. I want to wish you all the best of luck with your qualitative data analysis and ATLAS.ti, and have a great day, everyone. So thank you and goodbye.